Hey guys, welcome to Hate the Sin, Not the Sinner, where we have blunt conversations, honest opinions, and no apologies. If you like oversharing, trauma dumping, sarcasm, and dark humour, this podcast is for you. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Cynthia. I am 28 this year. Oh my God. I keep saying 29. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just like rushing to 30 for some reason. But anyways, I'm turning 29 this year. I'm a Virgo. My birthday's coming up. So yeah, I was like, I need to do something. I need to record something, do something, because I feel like it's something that I've wanted to do for such a long time. But I just keep putting it back. I just feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I don't have good things to say. I feel like I'm not funny enough. Even though when I was younger, I believed in myself way more than now. But yeah, I want to start off by kind of introducing myself and let you guys fully get to know me. I feel like people in Dublin know me, but they don't know me. They don't know my story. They don't know my history. So yeah, I wanted to share that first. And then, of course, I want this to be kind of like a podcast environment where I have guests on and stuff like that. Not all the time, to be honest. I want to yap myself. But I wanted you guys to actually get to know me and kind of have something to relate to before I start kind of yapping. So you guys get to know my personality. You guys get to know my attitude, my sass. And yeah, y'all gonna get me. Y'all gonna get me. So let me start by telling you guys where I am originally from. So I was born in Berlin, right? My parents are Polish and Nigerian. My mom is Polish, my dad's Nigerian. We lived in Poland for a while after I was born, and then my middle sister was born there. And then after that, we moved back to Berlin for a while. So we lived there for a short time, and then after that, we moved to Spain. So that's where my youngest sister was born. So yes, I was born in Germany, my middle sister was born in Poland, and my youngest sister was born in Spain. I know, I think that's so cool. And I looked up our dates of birth, and we're all born on a Tuesday. So even though we're all born in different places, we're all born the same day. So I think that's so cute. As far as what I can remember from my childhood, I grew up in Spain right up until I was around 9 or 10. So when I lived in Spain, it was like me and my sisters, my parents, we lived in an apartment. We lived in San Fermin in Madrid. Yeah, I don't really know much about location wise because it wasn't like Madrid, like the city, the center, Costa del Sol. It was like a kind of a town outside of that. So yeah, like my childhood was fine. I really enjoyed being a kid, and I really loved my school, my friends. I loved where I lived. I remember just having such a fun childhood. I did get in a lot of trouble. I know you're thinking like, how does a 7-year-old get into a lot of trouble? Well, I did. I don't know if we were more advanced back in the day, but like I was allowed to like walk to school, walk home from school. I'll be taking detours in between. Don't ask me when, but I'd be taking detours. So yeah, I feel like as a child I had a lot of independence, and obviously I was the oldest sister, so I also had a lot of responsibility. So I was in charge of the house, in charge of my sisters, in charge of everything. Like, give me a break. I'm just a child, but nevertheless, I like that role. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I really like to be the older sister. I really like to take responsibility. But I was also like a mischievous child. So of course I was misbehaving there and then. My parents' relationship was a bit techie. I feel like people of my generation, their parents are like a bit off. Do you know what I mean? I feel like growing up, I'm like, that was wrong. This was wrong. This was wrong. This was wrong. So yeah, I feel like my parents really did love me and love my sisters. And they loved each other, but they really had a toxic relationship. I definitely can say that I experienced like firsthand domestic abuse. And yeah, it's something that I kind of only started to recognize as I was getting older. It's not something that I recognized at that time, and how bad it is. And it was all very confusing because like your parents love your mom, your dad, they both show you love. They cared for us. We went to school. We had everything. We had everything we needed. You know what I mean? And I was really grateful as a child. So I feel like when bad things happened, I just didn't recognize them as that bad. I just recognized them as like a bad patch, or your parents having an argument and stuff like that. Obviously, as I was getting older, I just started to realize that this is wrong. No one should put their hands on another person. And yeah, it was confusing to me. It was confusing to me to see like the abuse and then the passionate love for each other at the same time when I was growing up. Which is, yeah, I'll definitely get more into that, but that was just a part of my childhood anyways. It wasn't all bad. Like I said, my parents loved us, and I really loved my parents at this point. But yeah, so my dad decided that we were all going to move to Ireland because he wanted us to have a better education and stuff like that. If you know about Spain, it's kind of like if you're not in a private school, you don't really get as good as an education as if you're in a private school. And of course, private schools were really expensive. My family didn't have that much money, but my parents always provided for us. And like my dad drank a lot, so I'm guessing that's where the money went, which is something that I didn't realize as well, because he would work really hard, and somehow we're still kind of struggling. I mean, it was none of my business because I was fed and everything like that. But like obviously I overhear arguments about money and bills and stuff like that. I knew my parents drank, but I didn't realize that that's an expensive habit, and you got kids that need feeding and shit as well to be paid for. So I will definitely talk more about my childhood in detail and what it's like to experience like domestic abuse, and you're not really understanding it as well because like you're just a child. So yeah, and how that shaped me as a person as well, because that definitely rubs off if it's not in a way that you could be the victim in your life. Maybe you could be the abuser. And I feel like growing up, I have been the abuser and I've also been the victim, but I've been the victim first. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'm just being honest and I'm just saying like what feels right for me to say, if that makes sense. Because I definitely feel like when I was older and I just I felt like my dad. Do you know what I mean? I felt like, yeah, like you can't talk to me. You can't say this shit to me. And so my dad decided he wanted us to go to Ireland because, we can get a better education, and he had a friend here and he would find work here, and yeah. I did not want to leave my home. I didn't want to leave my friends. I didn't want to leave. I really didn't. And at the time, my mom just got a job as well. So I was like, what's the problem? What's the problem? I'm in school. I'm doing good. My sisters are doing good. Mom just got a job. You're still like working, like everything is fine, like what's the issue? But anyways, they wanted to move. I feel like maybe my mom didn't, I don't know. But yeah, so the day that we have to move finally comes, and it was honestly so devastating. I remember in school I was telling my friends like, oh, I'm going to Ireland, and they were like, you're lying, you're not going. And I was like, no, I am. And they were like, where the hell is Ireland even? I had to show them on a map. I was like, this tiny island, that's where I'm going. And they were shook. They were actually shook. So we now arrive at the airport. We're ready to like get on the plane. We have all our stuff bagged. Our apartment is sold. Like my dad quit his job. My mom quit her job. Ready to go. We get to the airport. My dad can't get through. I don't know why, but he just can't get through. So obviously this was so devastating. This was actually so traumatic because we were all crying. All of us were so upset that he couldn't come over. Obviously I was a child. I don't know why he couldn't come over. I didn't understand the reasons. And obviously he's your parents. Like your parents are not going to tell you everything they did in their past. And I was such a young child that, they wouldn't tell me. They just wouldn't tell me if there was any like legal reasons or whatever. I just wouldn't understand anyways. So the whole plan was that me, my sisters and my mom will come over here. My dad will follow us over. So when we got here, we were here for a good couple of months, and my dad was trying to get his papers sorted out. My dad was trying to, send money over, even though, so he had to like obviously get a job again and work while he was there. And I think he was staying with a friend, thank God, at the time. So yeah, my dad like just said to us, like, stay in this hotel for a while. Let me get everything sorted. I'll just keep sending you guys money. So he just kept sending us money, and we were staying in the hotel for a while, and it was fine. Obviously, I was chilling. As a kid, I was like, this is lovely. Like, I'm staying in a hotel. Like, I could brag about this shit to my friends back in Spain. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, after a long time, like, my dad kept sending money in. Of course, he was going to run out of money. Like, do you know what I mean? He's trying to feed a whole family across the water. So yeah, so things got really hard. And my mom was like, are you going to come over? Like, what's the story? Where's your friend? This is that. My dad was like, it's getting hard. It's getting hard. So my mom was like, I'm going to need help. I need more help. And I can't raise these kids by myself. Which I was surprised, because I was like, sis, first of all, there's two of us here. I was like that kid. I was like, what do you mean, just you? Like, you got me. I'll help you. But yeah, things got hard. And then my parents were fighting a lot, because my mom obviously felt that, like, he just threw us out to a different country and kind of left us with nothing, which I can kind of see now. At the time, I was very angry. I was very, very angry at the whole situation. I was like, why did you leave Spain? Why is my dad not here? And what do you mean you can't, like, look after us anymore? Like, what's going on? And at this point, I was in school. I went to George's Hill in town. I loved that school. It was so cool. The vibe was completely different from my school. And yeah, like, I was there with my sister. We made friends. It was, as far as I remember, it was cute. Obviously, there was like a bit of racism, but I feel like you just get that. I feel like anyone that's like black mixed other than white, they just get a bit of racism. But whatever, I didn't let it like, bother me in school. I was just like, whatever, y'all are haters. I'm so fly. Like, I literally thought I was a shit. So I was just like, but, and I had loads of friends as well. So they kind of made up for any negative feelings I had. But yeah, so over time, my mom couldn't look after us. A bunch of bad shit happened at this point. Maybe I'll share it at some point. Maybe I won't. But it's really tough going. And especially if you're a child. I think at this point I was 10. Because we came over on the year Barack Obama got elected. My birthday's on September. So I think I just turned 10 at this point. And yeah, my mom was just like switching up. She was switching the fuck up on me. And yeah, she done a bunch of shit that I just couldn't comprehend. Like, why? And like, why would you do that? Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it made me feel like my sisters were in danger, and it made me feel like my sisters weren't being looked after, and it made me panic. I remember this one time me and my sister ended up outside, and we didn't go back. We didn't want to go back inside where my mom was, and we were like, we're going to sleep outside. I don't give a rat's. We're going to sleep outside. I was like, yeah, like, I was like on smoke as a kid. I'm not going to lie. I was like, no, I don't care. I'm not being near you. I'm going to call dad. I'm going to snitch. Whatever. I was just like so heartbroken that my mom like switched up on us and like switched up on me. I thought like we were on the same team. But yeah, so I remember me and my sister, like, we went over to Mount Joyce Way Park, and at the time there was like a telephone booth there, and like we didn't have phones or anything. Like, I had to ask this lady like for a lend of €1 because I needed to call my dad, and she gave me €1, and I called my dad, told my dad everything. My dad was like, calm down, go back. You need to be somewhere safe, somewhere with an adult, because I was a child. And my middle sister at the time, was only 2 years younger than me. Like, and my younger sister, she was a baby. She was only like 2 years old. So he was like, what are you doing outside, child? Go back inside and work with what you have. Do you know what I mean? Just like keep in contact with me any way you can, whatever. So at this point, my parents were breaking up as well. So that was really traumatizing for me, because like, I knew that it wasn't going to last, because I definitely saw how hurt my mom was when my dad used to like be like violent or aggressive or anything like that to her or to us. I feel like if you have Nigerian parents, or honestly, if you have Nigerian parents, if you have any sort of parents that had kids too early, like obviously my mom is Polish, they also have like a record of like domestic abuse. Like, let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, to be honest, I don't know if it even comes down to place, but personally, like being Eastern European and being Polish, like I feel like there is a strong presence of domestic abuse and a lot of misogyny. And yeah, and I knew that my parents, maybe they were better off like being apart, but I just didn't. I always thought they could like work it out. So yeah, at this point they were like breaking up. I was so angry at my mom because she like just switched up on me and my sisters. And I was causing trouble. I was causing a lot of trouble. I was like breaking things, snapping at her, just causing a lot of trouble at this point, actually. And yeah, so she was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it by myself. I need to get help. So at that point, she decided to go to social care and asked them for help. I think she just went to the guard station. She asked for help. And then obviously at that point, we were speaking to social workers, and I gave a detailed report on the things that my mom was doing that were not prioritizing her kids. So I think after that, our case was taken really serious, and they were like, okay, you clearly can't take care of these kids right now, especially by yourself. They were on the phone to my dad, and my dad was so heartbroken, so disappointed, like in ourselves, especially when you come from like Nigeria. I'm not saying that other places are different, but especially being Nigerian, like, they always put family first, and no matter what, they try to keep the family together. And of course, my dad really loved us, and it was heartbreaking for him. When we went to foster care, it was very hard to find one house that would like house the three of us. So me and my middle sister, we went separate ways from my baby sister, and this was like I got emotional just talking about it. But this was like the hardest thing. But yeah, this was like the hardest thing ever, because at this point, like, it's just been me and my sisters, and we've been so close, and I was on a fight or flight mode. So, man, why am I so emotional? Like, I feel like I've healed from this. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't want to get my mascara everywhere. Okay, so cute. But yeah, that was really tough because, like, yeah, as I said, I felt really responsible for my sisters, and I felt like we were such a unit, and I felt like it was up to me to keep them safe. So the fact that we were separated and in this situation, it was just very hard for me. Of course, it was hard for my parents as well and everybody else involved. Like, but it was just hard. At the time, the house we were in, I didn't like it. I didn't think they were treating us properly. Maybe they thought they were doing the best thing for us as foster parents, but I personally didn't like their style of, I don't know, parenting. Like, me and my sister could really only speak Spanish at the time. We didn't really have much English. Like, we had broken English, but it was mostly Spanish. And like, they didn't allow us to speak Spanish to each other because apparently we were having conversations behind their back. I'm like, sorry, I'm literally 10 years old. My sister's 8 years old. What the heck do you think we're planning here? Like an invasion? Like, what's going on, sis? So they literally forced us to like speak in English. I remember I was being so cheeky, and I was like, oh yeah, you're not gonna let us talk in Spanish. So then I started writing letters to my sister in Spanish, and yeah, they were snapping at that as well. They were like, no. And then it was really shit. And I feel like if they didn't do that, I would have definitely kept on my Spanish language. Like, I feel like it's like buried because like I was forced to learn how to speak English. And I just didn't like the way they treated my sister as well. I remember this one Christmas, my sister asked for, I think she asked for a red Nintendo DS, and fair enough, I don't want to sound ungrateful, like, of course they included us in Christmas and stuff like that, and got us gifts and stuff, but like, of course we're kids, and they were getting paid as well, so let's not forget. But yeah, my sister asked for like a Nintendo DS, and she got like a red one, and then one of their kids got one as well, but they got like a grey one. and the kid didn't like his Nintendo DS. He didn't like his color, so they just took my sister's and swapped it out with his. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? That's a child. That's what your child chose. So sorry, you better break the news to him, but don't be taking shit of my sister now, making her feel like she's not worthy of getting exactly what she's wanted or exactly what she asked for. So I remember that. I remember loads of things like we were not allowed to go to the shop, but everybody else in the house was allowed to go to the shop. This just stupid shit. Like, okay, I get it. You're a foster parent. You have now a big, huge, like a huge responsibility to look after these kids that are not yours. I get it, but the way that it was done, like, I know what love is. I know what care is. You know what I mean? I saw it from my parents. So another family treating me how they did was just, I didn't like it at all. And like, God bless them for what they did, but I just wasn't impressed in how they took care of us and treated us. We didn't need things. We needed love and care and trust. We didn't need like new things. I mean, I was delighted when I got new things because obviously, like, I'm in this big house, whereas in Spain I lived in a small. No, it wasn't small actually. It was an apartment, but yeah, they had big 3-story house. Like, they had a sweets drawer. They had all these things, and like, I remember once, like, I was never well, not never, to be honest, but obviously in this environment, I didn't want to piss anyone off. I wanted to be in my best behavior. And there was this, like, money jar that they had. So all the kids in the house were allowed to take money out of this money jar and go to the ice cream man. And of course, me being a fat kid that I was like, hell yeah, me too. And then it came up in a meeting that I was stealing from them. What? Like, I was just a child. You literally allowed everybody else to take money out of this jar, but then at a meeting, you literally say that I'm stealing from you. Say, stealing what? Like, a few coins for ice cream. Get it together. So things like that made me feel really pissed off and made me feel wrong. Like, why would you say that about me? Do you know what I mean? I was more grateful that we had shelter and we had a place to, like, stay and everything. And yeah. And then my little sister went to a different house, and yeah, her foster family were just amazing. I have to say, like, I loved going to visit. I loved going over. They really looked after her. They really loved her. Like, so there's different types of, like, foster parents or, like, foster care systems. So it's like temporary, permanent. Sometimes people just take in, like, young kids from a certain age. Sometimes people take in teenagers. Blah, blah, blah. So where my baby sister went, it was actually a home where they'd looked after a lot of, like, young babies and young kids. And, you know, they generally had an interest of developing them to being, like, you know, to growing in the right direction. Like, I remember going over and seeing my baby sister, and she just looked so cute. She was so happy. Like, she was, just everything. They spoiled her. The whole family loved her so much, and we got to see her like once a week at a time. And the most heartbreaking part was going home, because, like, I don't know how she knew, but as a 2-year-old, she just knew that at night time we were going to get dropped home. And the whole entire journey in the car, she would scream, crying, because obviously she, like, misses us. And yeah, that was really tough. I remember just, I literally wanted to do this and have fun with it, and I'm, like, crying, like, what's going on? But yeah, like, it was really hard. It was really hard, like, you know, having access, and then after that being separated, and just the feeling of, like, am I going to see you again type of thing. It's gas because, like, she doesn't remember this. Obviously she's 2, but, like, for me, I remember. So it's tough because I just feel so bad that we actually had to go through this emotional roller coaster and be separated. But yeah, so that was very emotional. Like, obviously as time went on, she realized that she will get to see us again. Like, we got to see her every week. And sometimes we got to see her more than once as well. If something was happening or there was a birthday or something like that, we'd be invited over. And it was always such a pleasure to go over to her foster family. Me and my middle sister, we didn't end up staying in that house. I told them, like, I don't like this. I don't like this house. They didn't like us. Like, let's be honest. And yeah, we actually moved around for a bit because it was hard to find another foster home where they took in 2 kids at the same time. And especially our age as well. Like, it's not the easiest age to cope with as a parent, I guess. So yeah, we moved around a couple of times. We were staying in like Sanctuary for a bit. That was a cool house as well. I actually forgot so many names and faces. And I think it's generally from being in like fight or flight mode. So yeah, I forgot a lot of people's names, but that was a really cool house. There's so many stories about being in foster care. Like, y'all not ready. I will maybe like slip some story times out there and then, but like, yeah, you guys are not ready. Some of the crazy ass shit that we had to go through in different places was just absolutely crazy. But yeah, eventually we found our foster parents that took me and my sister, my middle sister, together, and we shared a room, and it was in Clontarf. It was such a nice place. I loved it there. And then I went to school in Clontarf. I went to school in Holy Faith. Loved it. Sorry, went to primary school first in Belgrove, and then after went to secondary school in Holy Faith. I loved it so much. I loved my foster parents. I loved my foster brother especially because he used to always like do fun things with us. He was like in scouts as well. We were on scouts. But yeah, like, it was so cool to have like your foster brother being like your scouts leader. Basically, it was just so cool. I just loved it, and I loved being in scouts. So yeah, I really loved that house. They taught us a lot. They helped us grow a lot, and they actually really cared for us, and they tried their best, which is so nice. Like, they were really, really good foster parents. And well, obviously we keep in touch till this day, and like, I love them so much. I don't know if they know. I don't know if they know like how much I love them, if that makes sense, because like, they just made me feel part of the family, which was very important for me, especially with the history that we had moving around. But yeah, unfortunately, they retired. Basically, they wanted to move, and yeah, they were getting older. They wanted to move to a different county, this and that. So we then had to like separate from them, which is really tough as well, because we really loved them, and yeah, I had such a good time staying with them. But then we found my current foster mom, which is literally like an angel from heaven, and she was able to take the 3 of us together in her house. I just could not believe that there was actually someone that was going to take the 3 of us and we would finally be like together again. It was just amazing. She was so, I remember the first day we went to her house just to see what the room looked like. She had like bunk beds. She had one room, but it was a big room, and there was like bunk beds, and there was like one bed for me because I was like the oldest, I guess. And there was like chocolates under the pillows and everything. It was just so cute. I'm gonna get emotional again. But yeah, it was just so cute, and it just made me feel safe and like relieved that like, oh my god, it just made me feel like really happy that this family wants us here, and they actually care for us and care for our well-being, and yeah, they want to be part of our lives. Soz. Actually, soz, because what the hell? I did not think it was going to get so emotional. Maybe I need therapy. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I loved it there. We grew up there. We had so much fun. I continued to go to school in Clontarf because I loved that school. So I was getting 2 buses from like Finglas to Clontarf, and yeah, at that point, I was like being a teenager. I was just being reckless. I was just, like, if you know me, you know me. I've grown, okay? I've grown a lot. But yeah, if you know me, I was always outgoing. I always wanted to be out with my friends. was I wouldn't say I was a troublemaker. I would say more I was like a class clown. I definitely pushed the boundaries. I was definitely the cheekiest person you'd meet. Jesus Christ. Like, you could hate me, and I wouldn't even blame you at the time. I was such a cheeky bitch. Like, I had a really big heart, and, I really cared for what's mine, my friends. But yeah, I definitely gave my foster mom hell. I think, like, at this point, I was like more towards being like, 17, 18, 19, kind of. I was like entering my like bold teenage phase where I was just doing what the hell I wanted. Like, I like would sneak out of school to like meet One Direction. I would like go to these concerts and like come back really late, and like it would just stress my foster mom out a lot. But she was still good to me. She did a whole grounding thing, which I was like, what you gonna do? I'm gonna walk out of here. But then she said no pocket money. So I was like, okay, let me sit my ass now, because I need pocket money to get the bus and go see my friends in Clontarf. So yeah, so then after that, me and my sisters kind of we're living there. Everything was going good. My sister was going to school. Everything was grand. And I had a really good time. But then obviously as you get older, you start being bold and you start questioning things, and you start kind of thinking nobody, like, I felt like the world was against me and everyone was against me, and I was really a defensive person, and I was always ready to fight someone. I had a lot of anger problems. I had to go like counseling, anger management and all that kind of stuff. But like looking back, it's like, of course I was going through all that. Like, I had so much shit going on and so much shit that I had to like heal from, and I just didn't know how to cope with it. And yeah, maybe I should have went to counseling and therapy at the time as well. But obviously I was like, I had this like older sister syndrome that I was like, no, I'm strong. I don't need to talk to anyone. I know how to handle myself. No one can tell me left to right, and I'm going to do what I want to do. So yeah, as I was getting older, becoming a teenager, I was becoming really difficult for my foster mom, and I kind of admit that. And yeah, she tried with me, and same with my sister. Like, she became a bit more difficult, and things just got really difficult, and we had the freedom to leave. Like, we had the freedom to leave because we're in foster care. That wasn't a permanent home. We weren't adopted. So at that point, me and my sister decided, yeah, we're not getting enough freedom. We're not getting enough independence. We're going to move out to residential care. I didn't really want to move out to residential care like that, to be honest. But my sister wanted to. She was like, no, like, I can't stand this place. Bear in mind, like, there wasn't anything like that was that dramatic for us to wanted to leave at the time, or it wasn't something that we could have not like worked through at the time. But yeah, and I still don't understand what kind of happened there to this point. I don't really know why we did that. But yeah, I like went into residential care, studied my sister, and because we're at two different ages, we were separated again. So I'm in one residential house, she's in another residential house, and my baby sister is still with my foster mom. So at that point, we're all still like really close to each other, so we always kept visiting each other and stuff like that, which is nice. But I felt like I wanted to also be independent. I didn't want to rely on anyone, and I felt like really passionate about being alone and doing my own thing, because I felt like people that I've trusted probably have let me down. And at that point I was like, I don't need anybody else. I'm gonna get this degree, I'm gonna get this college, I'm gonna get this shit done all by myself. So yeah, like, I had a good time residential. I met a couple of like nice girls there. It was mental. I also misbehaved there, like troubled child. I'll definitely get into story times at one point, but I've done so much bullshit, and given so many people big fat headaches. Okay, so yeah, like I wasn't a bad person, and I wasn't trying to do bad things to other people. But me myself, I would literally keep people awake at night. Do you know what I mean? Worried about me. So yeah, that was fine. And then after I finished like school and I was going to college, I went to student accommodation. And then after that, student accommodation was crazy as well, because if I was already acting up, you can imagine what way I was behaving with all the freedom that I had on my own apartment. Girl was wilding out. I was wilding out. I was doing what the hell I wanted. But I still stuck to college. I loved college. I went to like Ballyfermot and I did like journalism and media production management, and I really loved it. And yeah, I kept it going. So I got kicked out of student accommodation because I was misbehaving and having loads of parties and just inviting everyone over that wasn't supposed to be there. And yeah, I had to like stay with my friend for a while. God bless her and her family. And while I was there, I had to like apply for my own apartment and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up getting my own apartment and I finished college. And I actually did really well in college, which I was really proud of. Like the one thing my dad always said to me was like, not to like give up an education. Like my dad always reminded me education is the one, like don't, like it's so ironic because I actually didn't do anything with my degree. Well, I will I guess I am, but like yeah. So through the whole time we were in foster care, I was always communicating with my dad back and forth. My dad actually left Spain. He couldn't come over here. Still to this day, don't know why, but yeah, he couldn't come over here, so he actually moved back to Berlin because he had friends in Berlin. He had family over there, and he had somewhere to stay and work. So throughout this phase, me and my dad were still like keeping in contact. He would call me. Once I turned 18, I was flying over to Berlin to see him. Das war sprechen Deutsch? Yeah, that's why I spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. I took like German in school, and because I was visiting him over in Berlin all the time, I just like learned German. Like I'm not fluent or anything, but like, you know, I can get by. And yeah, but early days when we separated from my mom, went into foster care. Over like maybe after a year or so, my mom kind of stopped contacting us. Social workers basically told me that like, yeah, your mom's not in the country anymore. She's moved back to, I think she was in the UK. But I don't even think she told us. But yeah, she moved out of Ireland, and then we would get the odd phone call from her. I felt bad for her at the time because my granddad had passed as well on her side. So she was obviously going through all that. But then the phone calls were like getting less and less. And it was like, my little sister was growing up and she was asking me questions like, why does mom want to talk to us? Why is mom only calling on Christmas? And I was getting irritated. I was like, this is my little sister. Like, you're hurting her feelings. Are you going to be present or are you not going to be present? Like, it really irritated me that she took us for granted at the time. And obviously, like, my big personality, I was like, listen, you either keep in contact regularly or don't bother calling us. And yeah, we basically kind of stopped talking over time. And I was so mad at her because I was thinking, you can come over here. Like, you can get a flight over. My dad couldn't. You could. You could at least come over, see your kids, have a catch up. Let us know what the plan is. Let us know where you are in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, give me something, sis. So the fact that she wasn't really communicating with me and everything just made me feel so betrayed and so abandoned and so angry at her. Obviously now I'm growing up and I know some of her reasons and stuff like that. But at the time, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, my dad is calling me nearly every day, asking me how I am. We would have access with the social workers. So the social workers would bring the three of us over to Germany to visit my dad like once or twice a year. So these times I'm actually going to see my dad and connecting with him as a child and as a teenager and, you know, like building our relationship, even though he couldn't come over. But I had high hopes that, like, listen, I'm 18 now. I can come over. When my sisters turn of age, we can all come over and visit you. So I wasn't depressed. I was more grateful that we kept a good relationship, which kind of made me despite my mom even more because I was like, if he can do this, like, I saw him as a bad guy, you know, when she was hitting the fan and things were going wrong. And yeah. But like over the time, the fact that he stuck around and he showed that he loved us throughout all these years that we were separated, I just kind of took his side more, and me and my mom kind of stopped talking for a while. And she never came back to Ireland to like visit us, even though she was just in the UK. And from the UK, she moved to Poland. But there was nothing wrong with her passport. Like, she could have came over to see us, and that really hurt me that she just chose not to. Made me feel like, what did I do as a child to deserve that? Like, did I wrong you? Did I piss you off? Did I, like, do something wrong? Like, and whatever I did, like, I'm sorry, but I wasn't even 10. I was literally just like 10. As a 10-year-old, like, you can't put the blame on me on how I'm reacting and how I'm handling this tough situation that's happening. So that really hurt me, and that really like that really made me not want to talk to my mom, and also made me feel like I was betrayed, and that she basically chose to, like, reinvent herself rather than, like, talk to her kids. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, and then I have seen my mom since, obviously. Well, it's actually not obvious, to be honest. But I have seen my mom since. I've tried to, like, build some sort of relationship there again. Like, we don't live forever, and I'd hate to have a bad relationship with my mom, even though everything that has happened. Even after we're cool and she's not really keeping in contact with me like that, I'm like kind of angry. I'm like, do you not care? Like, what am I doing in my life? Do you not care? But, like, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what excuses to make for her. Because I think personally I would stick by my kids no matter what. And maybe that's because of what I've been through, and I know how important parents are to their kids. So yeah, like, it's still very confusing, but I'm an adult now. Like, I'm close to 30 than I am to 10. So I'm grown from that. I know that, like, family isn't perfect, but it means a lot to just know that someone is there for you. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna, like, leave it at that. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of info. But yeah, like, long story short, that was, like, kind of my childhood right up till now, kind of. Obviously, there's so many things that's happened in between, and there's so much stuff I want to share as well. Like, how did I grow up in Spain? Like, my culture. Like, am I more Polish? Am I more Nigerian? Like, I want to, like, share all that stuff as well. So I'll definitely be doing a part 2. I hope I didn't overshare, but, like, I kind of did. And I hope you liked it, okay? So, yeah, see you guys in the next episode of Hate to Sin, Not to Sin It, where we have blunt conversations, honest opinions, and no apologies. Don't forget to follow me on all social medias. I go by Sin Sinna. And yeah, see you guys for part 2.